Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everybody is having a great week. And again, our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to rekindle old relationships from your past. Now, this is a membership program taking out all the noise of social media and an opportunity for you now to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to do so without all those noisy notifications. So if you'd like to get some more information about Alumni Direct, track them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, this is going to be a first for Business Influencer. And if you're new to us, welcome. And again, you can follow us here at talradio.org. And also we're on Spotify, Apple, and our YouTube as well. So feel free to follow us there. And also could reach out to me at christophersalem.com. Again, we want to make sure that you do not miss an opportunity each week to watch the show, as we have many great guests sharing their words of wisdom and insights here on the show to move your business and level of influence to the next level. Well, here's a first. I'm pretty excited about this. We've never done this before here on the show. So today, in today's episode, guess what? I'm the host of the show, and I'm going to be your guest. Yes, I am going to interview myself. You are going to hear from me. I've never been a guest on this show. So that being said, I'm going to share some valuable insights for today. And today's show is about value proposition, trust, streamlined sales, loyalty. Now, I'd like you to think about that. In business, we're all looking to create impact and grow our business, build better rapport and trust with prospects that we hope to convert into customers. We want to nurture those relationships with customers to retain them in terms of client loyalty or customer loyalty and retention. Well, here's the thing. A lot of times why people are not getting to that level, either they're not converting sales or prospects into clients at a time they would like to do so. It's taking longer than usual, or it never lives up to your objectives and goals. And why perhaps that you're not retaining clients is because you don't have a value proposition. And if you do, maybe your definition of value proposition is what you do and how you help people. And while that's commendable and that's important, that's not what a value proposition is. So I'm going to share with you today the strategy, the importance of having a value proposition for your business, whether if you're a solopreneur, whether if you are a founder or CEO of a small company, to a small business, to even a mid-sized company in Fortune 500, it does not matter. The value proposition is the same regardless, and it is one of the most important things to the foundation to any success in your business. So here we go. Here's a first. So I'm just going to go ahead and share and hope you take notes and get some value from today's session. So I'd like you to think about a house. Let's just use a house as an example. You have this beautiful home that you envision building and moving into. You and your spouse have been dreaming about this place for years, and it's finally now starting to happen. Now, I'd like you to think about it. When you're thinking about this house, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Yeah, probably maybe what a lot of you were thinking here. A lot of times you're thinking about what the house is going to look like from the outside, the windows, the color of the house, the type of roof it has. Is it a 2-car, 3-car garage, whatever. So it's the visual look of the appeal of the home as it appears to you as you're looking at it from the outside. Maybe perhaps how you're going to decorate the house, what goes inside the house, and so on. But what a lot of people do not put a lot of emphasis or even think about is, what does that house sit on? Yeah, it sits on a foundation. And because it sits on a foundation, we often take that for granted. But we don't realize that when a house sits on a strong foundation, one that took time to cultivate, to excavate, to make sure it was level, and to make sure that it had no cracks or potential issues, that more likely is going to lend itself for a house that's going to stand the test of time for a long time with, of course, there'll always be maintenance, but not having problems and other issues along the way if we didn't take time to cultivate that. So think about that in your business. Think about, do people necessarily buy your products and services because of what you do and how you help them? Well, maybe eventually, but not in the beginning. We have to be able to learn what that foundation is in our business. We are in the business, regardless of what product or service you provide, in solving challenges, making challenges better, and helping them to generate results they seek, whether if that is directly or indirectly or a combination of both in your business. Now, maybe some of you have heard that, are aware of it. Maybe perhaps you are already doing that. But there are probably several of you who are just leading from your product or service and how you can help them. The reality is people don't buy that way, for the most part. People buy when the challenge is great enough to make it better. People then buy also to the results they seek and don't have. But in order for people to buy based upon the results they seek and don't have, you have to give them a reason. You have to interrupt their thinking in terms of making sure, do they truly understand what is the challenge that can be better, and so on. So with that being said, we have to be able to look at what is the challenge. So what is the audience that your clients serve? Do you know that? Do you even know your own audience? A lot of times we assume we do. You can't believe how many businesses that I've worked with, whether if it's a solopreneur to even a mid-sized company, where they assumed who their audience was. See, the reality is, in order to effectively put together the right value proposition, we have to know our audience. Who is it? Not what you think it should be or assume what it is based upon prior experience. You got to go and substantiate that through a market study, an audience identification or alignment analysis, or a segmentation analysis, whatever you want to call it. We have to make sure that if we're going to deliver something that can truly help a challenge make it better and to generate results that they seek and don't have, we have to make sure that's the audience that can best align with what we're doing. Have you done that? And can you substantiate it? It doesn't have to be some fancy marketing study, or that you had to hire a company to do this, analysis on a very deep level. It's something that we can do relatively inexpensively or even free by taking the time, going out and polling some people in your target audience to get this information, to find out firsthand what are those challenges that could be better, what are the results they seek and don't have, and can your product and service, or a combination of both, help to make that happen? Not that it's going to do it 100%, but that it can do a certain percentage to help them get those results in conjunction with maybe perhaps you coming across to them as a trusted advisor to something else that will complete the puzzle for them to make that happen. See, the reality is, if we're going to up our game in business, if we're going to either upsell, cross-sell, increase sales with existing clients, generate more new business, get joint alliance partners to refer business to us, we have to be able to provide value. And by doing that, we have to do things when no one is looking. We're doing the right thing when no one's looking. That's what we call integrity, a value that you operate from. See, when you can build that rapport and trust from somebody, offering something that can truly help them to align to that challenge, to make it better, to generate those results that they seek, this is a game changer in any business. So I'd like you to think about, what is the challenge that you can make better overall to the people you serve? First, by identifying who truly is your audience. First do that, and then what is the challenge that can be better? And then what are the results they seek and don't have? Write that down. Now, again, I mentioned how you can go out and do this audience segmentation analysis. You can do something simple, just especially for your solopreneurs or small businesses for now. Go out and poll a certain demographic of your audience. Get some feedback. More likely, if people are commenting a certain way, more will probably do the same. But again, make sure you cover your bases here. When you get this information, begin to ask questions on a survey. Now, a lot of people don't like to do surveys, but if you give them an incentive to do so, or something else to get this information, you're going to be able to extract what's important to them in terms of their challenge that could be better and the results they seek and don't have. Now, when you get this information, here's another thing that you have to determine. How are you now going to leverage this message to them? See, what we take for granted oftentimes is people have different personality types. There's multi-generational types. There's ethnic differences. We don't take that into account. We often communicate like it's one size fits all. Here's the reality, folks. It doesn't work that way. Now, you're going to be able to cater to everybody that aligns with your target audience? Absolutely not. But if there is a bulk of, let's say, of your audience let's say on the DISC profile that are type A personalities or what we call dominant on the DISC profile. They are oftentimes leaders who operate from a place of generating results. They don't care about the details. They just want to know how you can help them generate results. That's what Ds do. Now imagine that's your audience. How could you leverage a value proposition to them? Well, let me give you an example. For me, my audience are business owners, maybe perhaps just like you that are listening to this podcast. And as a type A or a D on the DISC profile, which predominantly is part of your personality, it makes a large part of your personality. You might have other things on the DISC profile that make up who you are, but let's just say it's a D. You're going to identify again with what if questions. See, what if questions will allude to a result that they would like to have, but don't have now. See, they're not going to identify with how to or why questions because that's going to get into too much detail. They can't be inundated and they don't have the time to be inundated with detailed type questions. They want to know what if questions. How do they go from here to here to get these results? That's it. And that means they're task oriented. So oftentimes Ds are task oriented, meaning that they know what they want to do. They don't care who's involved. They want to know that whoever is, that they have to generate that priorities to those tasks to generate those results. Now, what if you as a trusted advisor had the right message, the value proposition message that aligned to that challenge that could be better and to the results they seek? Now, we'll take the personality thing again, a D. What if? Here's my value proposition. If you go to my sustainablesuccess.net website, it's the first thing you'll see on the top. It says, what if your business metrics, because business metrics mean different things to different businesses. It could be increase in revenue, return on investment, increasing net profit margin, cost of acquisition of a new client, or keeping an existing client. The list goes on. But what if your business metrics unfolded a narrative? Key word there, because that's a word that's intriguing and has some mystery of what does it mean by a narrative? What if your business metrics unfolded a narrative of continuous revenue and profit? Question mark. See, that's what we call a interrupt statement. We're not leading with something negative like, hey, is your business revenue struggling? Because even if it was, is a business owner like a type A, D on the DISC profile going to admit that? Probably not. But they will identify with the challenge when it's spun in a positive way. What if your business metrics unfolded a narrative of continuous revenue and profit? Question mark. Now, when they see that gets them thinking, what could be better with my business metrics? What is this narrative? Is that a story? Could that be a process? Could that be a methodology? What is that? It's intriguing. So you've caught their attention on the website. Maybe it was on marketing collateral. Maybe it was across other platforms that you're interacting with them. Maybe it was an e-newsletter. Nonetheless, they see that. Now, the next sentence of the value proposition is going to be the engage statement. We're going to align to the result that they seek and know have. The first one interrupts their thinking with the challenge first. What could be better? Well, here it is. A narrative of compounding revenue and profit fostered through stronger team leadership dynamics and creating valuable customer experiences. So I just told them. I just said, if you're able now to develop a winning team environment, develop a culture that is inclusive and engages people to show up to be their best, not the best, and builds a psychologically safe workplace where people are open to new ideas, to learn from their mistakes, are more likely to now be more forthcoming to what they need to learn to grow, to then make less mistakes by learning from it and fostering a stronger workplace environment from within. That is going to be the foundation that's going to be built upon with the right value proposition to create more valuable customer experiences. Look at companies like Zappos. Do you think that they're the top online shoe retailer and they're in the top 5 for customer service each and every year because they sell shoes? It's the last thing that happens. They create experiences. They put smiles on people's faces because of the very thing that I'm sharing with you right now. Why is your business not doing it? Well, because maybe you don't know about this. This is stuff they don't teach in your MBA program, or let alone in business when you went to school. If you were in marketing or business, that type of thing. But these are things you can learn right here, that you can now learn to really get into the buyer's state of being. What are they thinking? What could be better that they would like in terms of a challenge? What are the results they seek and will have? So what if your business metrics unfolded a narrative of continuous growth in revenue and profit? Interrupt. Challenge could be better. A narrative compounding revenue and profit fostered through stronger team leadership dynamics and creating valuable customer experiences. That's the engage statement. That's the results I seek. Now, they're more likely going to be intrigued. How do I do this? How do I create this type of workplace environment? How do I generate these customer experiences? Well, what I do is if you go onto the website again, you can see my next statement is the education statement. Discover in this free video, again, how they can make this challenge better to get these results that they don't have now. I give it to them. Now, I'm not giving away all the, from A to Z how to go about doing it, but I'm telling them what can be done in order to make that happen. You're giving them great value. That's now resonating, stewing with inside them in a good way. And then the offer, it's not book a call with me, buy for me, and why we're the best. It's simply that they put their name and email if they want to download the video or download a free report that will give them the education how to make the challenge better and how to get the results they seek. But see, it's only going to give them the macro view. Now, when they have to dig deeper, where are they going to probably most likely go if they really are serious about making this challenge better to generate the results they seek, than don't have now? They're more likely, because now when you capture their name and email from your website, when they downloaded the video or downloaded the report, you now have that in your CRM system. You could follow up a few days later. I hope the information that was shared to you was helpful to point you in the right direction. If there's any specific details you'd like to share here that would allow us to provide more specific insights to point you further in the right direction, feel free to reach out to us. No sales pitch. More than likely, every 10 people that do that, you're going to get about 20, 30% that will. And those are the very people that can turn into a client. Now, that's just one touch point. That's the website. Now, imagine now leveraging this across other platforms you interact with your audience. Your website, your email list, through your email marketing, on social media, through your posts and your profiles and your marketing collateral, when you're networking, when you are speaking at industry B2B, B2C conferences or events, it could be entrepreneur events, being on podcasts. When that value proposition, not necessarily has to be verbatim, is consistent and cohesive across these different platforms, you're going to reduce the number of touch points on the buyer's journey. See, the average touch points on the buyer's journey is anywhere from 20 to 100 touch points. Most people don't even get nowhere near even 20 and they give up. But what if now, with the right value proposition up front, building that foundation like we said for our house, first knowing who our audience is, what that challenge could be, and what are those results they seek, you could reduce those touch points from 20 to 100 to 5 or 12. Now converting more. So when I gave you that value proposition, the interrupt statement, challenge that could be better, the engage statement is the results they seek and will have. Educate them to combine how to make that happen in a free video, free download report. And then the offer is simply their name and email to download the information. That's what we call the conversion equation. That's what's going to convert more people. And it's that same value proposition that when you keep leveraging it in, slightly different ways, but still being consistent and cohesive to what it is without having change context, it's going to keep customers hanging around, referring more people, helping them to help themselves generate those results. And when they do their part, they're more likely going to have a better experience. And guess what? They're going to come back to you. They're going to refer you. These are the things that a lot of businesses do not do or don't have a concept. I've had people come to me. We had a moving company that came to us about, a year and a half ago. And they had been in business since 1994. And they were targeting people anywhere from 25 to 35 that were moving into their first home or maybe moving out from where they were to another location. Now, that was 30 plus years ago. See, I was their audience back then because 30 plus years ago, I was in that age group. I'm a Gen X. So here's the multi-generational type thing about targeting. They were still had messaging targeting people like me. They weren't targeting Gen Z, completely different generational type. They don't relate the same way we do, Gen X, missing the boat, wondering why their lead gen was stagnant, why their SEO was not performing right. See, it's not the lead gen, it's not the SEO itself. I'm not saying that that it could not be the source, but a lot of times why those things don't work to the level you dream of is because you don't have the right audience. The message is off. Or you don't have the right message or no message at all that resonates with them. So you got to update this value proposition every so often to align with who your audience is. This is so important. And when we made that change over a 3-month period, they saw significant changes. And when we coupled other revenue and profit strategies on top of that value proposition as a foundation, they saw a huge increase in revenue and profit, thus increasing their business valuation. Now, I can't go into all of that here on this particular session here of the podcast because we wouldn't have much time because we're talking about value proposition. But I'll tell you what, it made a huge difference, and it can make a huge difference in your business. So I'd like you to think about that. Think about, do you really know your audience? Go out and do some analysis. You could use Perplexity Pro or some of the AI tools to get some macro information as long as it's substantiated by credible sources. Go out there and survey your audience to determine, is this accurate in what you think it should be and how they could interact with your products and services? Do that first. Now, a lot of people don't like to do surveys, so you might have to incentivize them to do so. With that, when you can get that information, even if it's 50 plus people, is fine. This is the data that's going to help you now craft the right value proposition message. And I can tell you, when you're able to do that, it's going to be a game changer in your business. Your lead gen and your SEO are going to love it as a foundation, and you're going to see an increase in sales and in your revenue and profit. And when it comes to business valuation, if you have an increase in revenue and sales itself is great, but if the profit margin doesn't go up, that doesn't increase your business valuation, doesn't make it worth more. You have to incorporate those in. A lot of business owners don't understand that. So with that being said, think about that. Factor in who your audience is by personality types, multi-generational types, ethnic backgrounds. And don't just assume and speculate. That form of communication is what gets us in trouble. Why we have problems in the world, why marriages fail, why partnerships fail. We just assume and speculate. Be specific, clear, and concise in an assertive way with your communication, not in a passive and or aggressive way. Big, big difference. So I'm hoping that this information that I am sharing with you kind of enlightens you of what can be better. What can be better in your business? So if your sales are not there, or they've been stagnant for a few years, if you're, for whatever reason, your lead gen and your SEO is not performing to the level that you like, it may not be those sources in itself. It's just doing the best it can with the message you provided them. And a lot of those sources don't understand what a value proposition is. They're just going to go off of what you give them. And the reason why I know is because I've done a lot of this work with marketing agencies and PR agencies, public relations, where I had to do for their clients behind the scenes. This is not something that a lot of people know about, but I'm putting it out there because it's so important. And I've seen it firsthand how it can transform any size business. And there are businesses out there that have been doing it and been doing it for a long time. I gave you Zappos as an example that's very well known to a lot of companies and used in a lot of case studies in various schools' MBA programs. With that being said, this is what you got to start with first. You got to build the foundation before you build the house. And if we're going to sustain and grow the house, to turn it into what you have never imagined it can do, you got to take time to cultivate and sustain the foundation. So that means this value proposition, you do it once doesn't mean it's over. You may have to update it every so often as your audience adapts or changes or whatever that may be. So with that being said, I highly encourage you to think about that. Think about that in your business. What can be better? Think about the people you're serving. Personality types. Are they task oriented? D's. What if questions. If they are engineers or project managers, that's your audience. They're gonna be detailed oriented. They want data, trends, numbers. They identify with how and why questions. If they are people centric personalities like I's, they typically are influencers, tend to be leaders more on the marketing PR side. They run nonprofits. They tend to value the people involved before accomplishing the task itself. So they identify with who questions, who's involved. Same with S. They're also people centric, and they tend to be great support people, excellent at customer service. Don't ask them to make a decision or take a risk, but they will do what's necessary to support you to make you look like a hero. So get really honest who your audience is overall. Doesn't mean everyone's going to be in one bucket, but for the most part, which one do they fall into? And I know for me, that's the D's, the what if guys or the women that want to know how can you help me get to the results I seek? When that message now is aligned correctly, again, I can't tell you what it's going to do to your lead gen and SEO, amongst other things, other revenue and profit strategies that maybe you're aware of or not, that it's like putting it on steroids. It's a whole different dynamic of what it can do. And again, you've heard the adage before, numbers don't lie, and they don't. Numbers can significantly change when compounded a certain way when you understand these strategies. Don't be like the rest that don't understand them. You could be now one of the very few that do. And as this continues to get out there, which I am committed to doing, more and more people that buy into it and look to do something different are going to see significant changes in their business. Now, I hope this information was helpful to you. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to me here. Is for the first time I was a guest on my own show. Wow, that's a first. With that being said, we'd like you to also follow us at sustainablesuccess.net. That's where a lot of the information I shared here today can be found at sustainablesuccess.net. Also, I speak on this particular topic at many different leading industry B2B, B2C conferences and companies directly at their annual sales meetings or marketing, PR, whatever that may be. And that information can be found at ChristopherSalem.com. Well, I hope this information was helpful. And again, I will be speaking on this again in conjunction with some other guests that understand this area, that will be bringing them in to give you more value. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us here at Chris@ChristopherSalem.com. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. And thank you for the opportunity to be not only the host, but also to be a guest for the first time on the Business Influencer Show. Have a great day.